And hello there friends, welcome back to the Writer's Life Vlogs! It's been a little while since I did one of these, and I actually wanted to bring the series back for the longest time, but if you remember, I stopped this series like a few months back because life got in the way. By the way, foreshadowing, that will be one of the subjects we'll be talking about today, but I'm back. NaNoWriMo is in full force now, and I wanted to dedicate this video and this new series to talk about my process in writing and revising and the other elements in writing. This is a series that will go beyond NaNoWriMo and will hopefully remain here as a way of showing you not only, how I do things and how I go about creating books, not only through the first draft, revision, and then publishing, but also as a way to show you by example that, I apply my own advice, I guess. I'm not a big fan of do as I say, not as I do. I prefer to show by action rather than, just telling you what should happen. Anyhow, if you're unfamiliar with this video, so let me explain to you the way it's gonna go. It's a video divided in two halves. The first half, I talk about my process, what has been going on with me this week, what I've been doing, a little bit of advice, and then I tackle a particular issue on question on the second half. Of course, as always, the following is merely just my advice, my opinion, what works for me. Don't take it as gospel, instead take it as the ramblings of a silly person who looks a little bit like this. Again, just my advice, my experience, and what has been happening with me. Nothing else, nothing more, simple as that. So, the first subject that I want to talk about today is what I've been doing. What have you been up to, Max? Well, in the time that I was gone, and this video should be going up on the 1st, and I've been dealing with a lot of things. If you've been following me on Twitter and on the blog, I had a little bit of a life sundering. Is it really a sundering, Max? Do you really mean that it's a cataclysm? That's how bad it is. It was a cataclysm. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's part of the joke. Laugh along. I had a life-changing event that happened recently that forced me to move out of my old place and find a new place within like 3 days. I did it though. As you can tell, these videos are taking place in a completely new setting and a completely different headspace. I actually like this setup a lot better. I am silly though, it's probably just me. And before those, I've actually been writing and editing a lot because there's some special things coming out relatively soon. I spent this past week editing. Whenever I wasn't moving stuff and packing boxes, I was editing. And the editing process for me is a very special one. I really like editing, and the biggest problem with wanting to sit down and edit is finding the motivation and the drive to do so. And that is one of the questions that I get all the time, and I'm going to tackle it in this first half of the video. Max, how do you find the inspiration and the motivation to rewrite, or to edit, when things are bad, or when things are tough, or when you just can't muster the strength to, read through your own work, because you may probably hate it. I don't have like a bit of solid advice for that. What I do have is a bit of life advice, and here's how it goes. I read my books relatively fast, so for me the commitment is not even as much as probably some of you, but some of you may have spent months, maybe years writing this book, and I don't know about you, but to me the motivation comes in remembering, acknowledging, and internalizing that you have come this far. You've written this story, you have met this character, you have lived their lives, you gotta keep going. You can't just end it here. You've come so far, you've done the hardest part. For me, writing the first draft is the hardest part. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying to go through revision and notice your dumb mistakes, but the best thing is this. No one's gonna see them because you're cleaning them up right now. It's empowering. That is the empowerment of the first draft. No one's gonna see it until it's ready, or until you're ready to show it to somebody else. So all those mistakes don't matter. They didn't happen. You wrote it like that. You wrote this masterpiece on the first draft. Wink! And among the other things that really helped me is to have a playlist for my book and for my characters. Listening to that while working out, listening to that while in transit really helps because it reminds you about why you were doing this. Because you love those characters, you love that place, you love that setting. Listening, gather music that inspires you and listen to that whenever you want to get back into that world and you want to get back to editing. Because you want to share that world. You want to share with the world and share this story that you love because you created it, you found it, you molded it into letters and words and symbols, and you put it into pages, and here it is. It's a wonderful thing. It's pocket magic, and you can't just leave it like that, As a really quick, I'll probably do a video revision eventually, and because in case you're wondering, like, Max, are you gonna be like revising for months? No, I work in cycles, so I will most likely be writing Don't mind that alarm. By the next break, I will most likely, by the next video, I will be writing again. And I may have already written like tons, so we'll have to wait and see how things go. For the time being, one bit of advice for revision, and then I'll move on to the second subject of this video. Whenever you're revising, do the first 2 passes, maybe, just visually reading it, and on the third pass, read it out loud. Read your work out loud. If you are one of those people who followed or watched my entire Shadowrun Let's Play, which is on YouTube, by the way, you may realize that, like, me reading the work out loud pointed out, like, 50 typos in that game, and in Final Fantasy IX, there was one typo that probably none of the translators picked up because it's a really, really subtle typo, and you would only pick it up if you actually read the work out loud. So reading your work out loud is really, really important. Especially read it out loud as though, not like mechanically read it, read it as though you were telling somebody the story. That really, really helps because it helps you get in character, and it makes you self-aware of problems. Like if you're reading it with flow, you realize, oh, this sentence doesn't actually flow that well. Let's actually put a comma here to make it seem as though it would flow more naturally. But yeah, that's what I have to say about that. There will be more advice on revision in the upcoming weeks, and advice on writing in the upcoming weeks as I get back into writing and stuff. Again, I work in cycles. I don't know if I'll be done with the revision by next week's vlog, but I'll be showing you stats and stuff. This series is not going anywhere. It's gonna stay here for a little while. And we'll get to share each other's advice, but of course. And if you have questions, again, as always, leave them in the comments below. If you have advice, if you have thoughts, let me know what you think in the comments below. As for now, let's go over to the main meat and potatoes of today's video. When life attacks. One of the big questions that I get all the time is, Max, what do you do when you want to get back into writing? What do you want to do when you want to get back into revising? After life has gotten in the way. After life has attacked. I assume this is attacking, I don't know. I guess if my hands are like claws, I guess, or pincers. Yeah, pincers. Animal anatomy out of the way. What do I think about that? What happens when life attacks? Because again, a little while ago I had to deal with a particular sudden change, the sort of thing that demands your attention, and getting back into revision was hard. But it was one of those things where I had to remind myself, why am I doing this? Why I am doing this? Excuse my dyslexia. And what I love about writing, and listening to music really helped. During the first 2 days of moving, I didn't work out, I didn't listen to music, and I felt awful. And on the third day, I finally got back running, and I, put on headphones, and put on my favorite playlist, to which I added some new songs that I found, and this story came back to me. And I started thinking about the next book, and I started thinking about the things that need to happen, and the creative juices started. That sounds the inspiration started coming back. And my one recommendation for when life attacks is to think about your story. And if you have a playlist of songs that remind you of that world, listen to it. Listen to it and slowly allow yourself to get back into the world. Because when life gets in the way, I'm of 2 mindsets. I'm of one mindset, but that's because I'm a really straightforward person. LOL! Straight. Whenever there's a threat, I take care of it. Whenever there's something that I don't like, whenever there's something that is bothering me, I take care of it. I am the last person in this world who would put up with an abusive relationship. I would get out of there in no time. I really internalized the song 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. I'm out of there. I am not putting up with this shit. Excuse the use of language. That's the sort of person I am. Whenever there's a problem, I tackle it. People are like, I don't want to talk about it. Oh, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to sort this out right now. Because I can't go on another day in my life worrying about this and allowing that to get in the way of my writing. Remember, you're a person of your own, and you deserve the right to fix your life and to make the changes you want to make that life the best life for you. Remember that. That's the person I am. So when I realized, hey, you gotta move. Okay, find a place, pack stuff. Let's get all this stuff in boxes now. We needed to be ready yesterday. We need to get ready like immediately. I jump into action. Why? Because I don't want this stuff getting in the way. Life attacks, and it could bother you. It could get in the way of your creative process for months if you let it. It could just stop you permanently if there's something in your life that you don't want to tackle. And I'm not in your head. I don't know what you're dealing with, but I recommend tackling that, or at least coming as closer coming the closest you can to disabling that, disarming it, so it no longer has any power over your life. Because otherwise, it's gonna keep stopping you from doing what you want to do. And I don't know about you, but I can't live like that. And maybe it makes me a little bit rash and a little bit intense. I'm aware of that. I'm one of the few people who's willing to sit down and work things out. I'm not talking about flight responses every time. Instead of fighting, just fleeting. I guess it's fleeting. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about if there's a problem, let's talk about it. Let's sort it out, and let's find a solution to this, as opposed to just having ambiguity. I despise ambiguity. I despise not knowing what's going to happen. I despise having the unknown at my doorstep. I'd rather work things out. That's just the person I am. That's kind of the defense mechanism I've developed over the years. After having so many things get in the way of my writing, I thought, you know what? Let's fix stuff. Writing is what matters the most to me. It's my favorite thing in the world, and I don't want anything to stop me from doing that. And when life attacks, I disarm things. I take action to dissolve the unknown and create the known from that, and move on with my life. There are things that if you allow them to, they will have control over you for the rest of your life. I'm not kidding. If you allow them to, they will have control over your life for the rest of your days. And for the longest time, nobody told me that I had control over that. Nobody told me that I could, not turn them off, but take steps to disable them. And you can as well, by the way. Maybe you're young right now, maybe you have dealt with a lot of things, and maybe there's so much on your plate that you don't even know where to start. Choose somewhere and start, You may think to yourself, I don't have control over my life, I have no control over the decisions. Yes, you do. You're an individual of your own, with your own story, and your very own things you have dealt with your entire life. You deserve to make your own choices. Maybe you're a little bit younger to be making dramatic choices just yet, but in time you will be able to make choices like that. And if you're a little bit closer to my age and there's something, there's a rock in your shoe, take off your shoe and get that rock out. Bad relationships, bad friendships, bad jobs, find a solution and get back to writing. Get back to revising and get back to creating the things that mean the most to you. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise, what's life about if not about doing the things you want to do? You know what I'm saying? And I know that's hard, and I know that's scary, but make those choices. Be brave, Fortune favors the bold, as they say. So if there's something out there in your life that's bothering you, something that's getting in the way between you and writing, I would like to inspire you to take care of it. Or if it's something so great that you cannot disarm on your own, disarm it as much as you can. Make it something not scary. Make it something that you can control and something you can at least live with for now, okay? If you like telling stories, you gotta do it, you gotta do everything you can to protect that, am I right? That's just what I think, that's just my particular point of view, and you may file this away under life advice that sounds just like life advice. I want to thank you for watching, thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me, and I hope that, if anything, I gave you another point of view. As always, make sure to leave your suggestions for future questions, future subjects in the comments below. I want to hear what you think about this new format and this new, returning videos, and I will be seeing you on the next one. On the third day,